What is going on, you guys? It's your boy Brendan, aka Drip Drippity Drip, back with another awesome deck profile, guys. And today's profile, we got my favorite deck, the best deck of this format, and probably best deck. Anyways, it's best deck anyways. Just don't tell Galaxy Eyes that I said that, bro. Don't tell Galaxy Eyes I said that. I don't want to hurt his feelings. But anyways, we got my Undefeated SHADDOll Invoked Dogmatika. I originally had this deck uploaded and was about to release it the day of the tournament, but I switched one card in, put one card in, and switched a couple things around before the tournament, and ended up having to record it after the tournament because I added some cards and I went undefeated with it. So I wanted to just go ahead and redo the whole video. It was a small tournament. It was 3 rounds. Sadly, normally that's how my locals go. It was 3 rounds. First round I played against, it was an older version of 6 Sam's. I 2-0'd that. Kind of felt bad. He's a cool guy. He's new from he's new to our locals. He's a really cool guy. Second round I played the mirror match. Talk about a grindy game. Have you ever played SHADDOll mirror match? Yeah, it's up there probably with Striker mirror match when Striker was a thing. But anyways, I 2-0'd the mirror match after a freaking grind game from hell. And then round 3 I played against what the hell is that deck called? Metaphys. I played against Metaphys, and Necroface is a card, guys. So yeah, be on the lookout for that. Necroface, Jesus Christ. Sadly, I dropped a game to that. So if you wanna call it undefeated or whatever, I didn't 2-0 everybody, but I still won that round 2-1. But it was there for a while, man. I'm telling you, if y'all been around the channel and you know the meme. When it comes to me, the meme is I hard draw fleur-de-lis or I hard draw driver. 100% of the time, guaranteed. It's either one or the other. One time yesterday during the tournament, I hard drew both, and it was catastrophic. It was annoying. 40 card, 41 card deck. But yeah, there for a while against Metaphys, it was literally just macabre beatdown because he just had Dimension Fisher and just everything kept getting banished, so I couldn't really do no SHADDOll stuff, so I just had to crutch on macabre. But no, anyways, guys, this is my favorite deck. This deck is awesome, man. If you've seen the first list, a lot of things have changed since the first list on my channel. A lot of things improved. I will explain more about that when we get into it. I don't want to make this intro too long. It's already 3 minutes. I'm sure most of you are probably already fast forwarded anyways. But a lot of it's standard. I'll explain my ratios and my reasoning on certain cards when we get into it. But one thing I will say, guys, is if you haven't checked the duel videos out, go ahead and check them out. Also, be on the lookout for future videos. Hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button so you never miss an upload. Also, by hitting that bell button, I got ahead of myself. Hit that bell button so you never miss an upload. Become part of the DDD fam. And Discord in the description, along with PayPal and everything else. You want to come closer to the fam. We're close to 400. Let's get that 400 and keep chugging along, and let's get into this deck profile. To start off, I got 3 Alistair. If you see my previous build, I only ran 2 Alistair because I felt like I ran enough Alistairs. But now, if I do not see Alistair, then it pretty much sucks because Alistair pretty much gets you a fusion spell, obviously, to help you get into your SHADDOll shenanigans. So 3 Alistair. That's, I mean, for God's sakes, it's 3 Alistair. On top of that, if it resolves, you win the game. So that's pretty much the game state we're at. Because sadly, he very rarely resolves. So, but for the SHADDOll lineup, it's standard. 2 Squamata, 2 Indy, 1 Beast, 1 Hedgehog, 1 Dragon, 1 Aerial. 8 SHADDOLls, standard. I see some people running 3 Windy, which I don't disagree. Windy's really good. It's just I do not. I just don't run a third one because 1, I don't own a third copy, and 2, I do not want to brick on Shaddolls. So I would much rather just run 8. 8 is a really good count because you normally see 1 to 2 in your hand, along with whatever else you may run in your other engines and stuff like that. So it just works really good. The other one I'd say run a 2 of is aerial, but if you're running proper cards in your deck, you should be okay running 1 unless they were to get banished or something. And even then, you could, depending on what run, you can get it back. That's the only other one I would say run. The new one, Genius, I would not recommend it in this build. The only build that I would say that's even remotely necessary in is more of a pure build, or a build that you're not running Dogmatika, because if you're not running Dogmatika, then you have more room in the extra. So you can run Genius, and then because outside of aerial and well, Windy, I guess you could say kind of counts too. Outside of aerial, I like my Shaddolls to be super poly friendly. So yes, you can make the argument that this Windy's not super poly friendly, but Windy's mainly for, like, I guess you could say is super poly friendly, but only for your own board when you're making Ab Cologne. So, but that's another reason why I don't want to run Genius. If I was running Genius, then I would want to make room for Shikanaga in the extra deck. So, like I said, if you're running more of a pure Invoked Shaddoll, that's perfectly fine. If you're not running Dogmatika cards, you could run Genius and it'll be perfectly fine. But outside of its discard effect, its flip effect is not as versatile as the rest of these. The rest of these cards are going to give you more than one effect, like, that's really, like, good. So, like for example, Dragon's effect comes up a lot because definitely in the mirror match, myself personally, I use Dragon a lot more so for his flip effect than I do his secondary effect, because his flip effect, it spins a card back, and then if you're in the mirror match, you don't have to worry about your opponent getting their stuff into the graveyard in order to plus, because we all know Shaddolls plus when they go to the graveyard. So, like, and then obviously he's your spell or trap searcher. He does everything you want. So moral story is all my Shaddolls have a good flip effect and graveyard effect, so they're pretty versatile. That's why I decided to run them instead of running others. On to the Dogmatika package, we run the Ecclesia and the Fleur. If you've seen my previous build, you've seen that I run Maximus. The only reason I cut Maximus, there's actually 2 reasons, sorry. 2 reasons I cut Maximus. First is because this deck is getting very popular, and I do not want my opponent plussing off of my cards. But saying that, Maximus does add a stupid amount of consistency to this deck that is just ridiculous. More consistency than running Pot of Prosperity. Like, because it's, I don't know. I'm just up in the air with that card. I'll get more to that later. But yeah, Maximus adds a stupid amount of consistency to this deck. And then Fleur de Lis helps you push for game. So, yeah, on top of that, when it comes to Maximus, I also cut it for the second reason was because I wanted to make more room in the extra deck, and Maximus, personally, I feel like requires 2 extra deck slots. You need Almirage, and on top of Almirage, you need Secure Gardener. So, it kind of hurts in that regard. So, because you don't get the full utilization of having a broad toolbox in your extra deck. But with that being said, that's it with the Dogmatika package. Yes, we are running punishments, just I have it with the traps. And one thing that's different about my build that a lot of people are not running, which I understand, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a game that you make, it's all personal preference. And me, I don't feel as comfortable without them that I do with them. And that is hand traps. I still run hand traps in this. I just keep it low, and for the most part, they're versatile. I like my hand traps offensive as much as they are defense, pretty much. Granted, they're probably going to be better defensively than they would be offensively, but I like to keep it as close as possible. 3 Ash, and then the Gamma package. Ash because other people run Gamma, and then Gamma because I want to punish my opponent for hitting my Meltdown and on offense. And then in my last build, I was running Omega, but for this reason and for the recycle effect, until I realized how good a certain card is in and that I had access to that I just overlooked because I'm a dummy, which I'll get to that too later. But no, these two don't clog really. They do clog because of this card right here. I clog on this more than I do anything in my freaking deck. But what's funny is this card played pretty much a two card reason why I even won game 3 against Metaphys. It was freaking nuts. Because I had Super Poly. Or no, I had it was Invocation, I think it was, and he had Dimension Fisher on field, and I had this, and I had Squamata in hand, and I was able to make Construct, and it just pretty much led to the reason of actually winning the game. It was fun. It was kind of funny because it was the only light I had in my hand, and I had access to too, because I had nothing to normal summon to link off into. Well, I guess you could say that I could summon Squamata and then go into Magistus, but I didn't want to do that because then I wouldn't have access to any of my Shaddoll cards. So yeah, it's kind of funny. If you know the meme and you're familiar with the channel, like no matter what the cards are, I draw all the 1-ofs no matter what the situation is, and the 2 1-ofs I draw most is literally these two. These 2 cards I draw the most more than anything in my entire deck. It's kind of annoying, honestly, at times. And then the last card that I added to my deck that's different from the recording I recorded like 3 days ago that I didn't upload, and I decided to add in at the last minute and actually put in work when I did see it at locals. And I think you should honestly run this card because this card is stupid in this deck. I mean, it's stupid in general, but it's really stupid in this deck, and that is Golden Lord. Golden Lord, Jesus God, I cannot explain how disgusting this card really is. I mean, obviously we know because it's Eldlich, but the fact that I could send this off of Shaddoll Fusion, you can send this off of Shaddoll Fusion. And even if you hard draw it, it's not that much of a brick because 1, it's a freaking light target. 2, if you're going second, it's a free like bait out and negate because you can send this an extra Shaddoll Fusion or Shaddoll spell that you don't need at the moment to try to send something away. If not, they negate it. Then you can just go off with your rest of your shenanigans and get that spell or trap back that you sent away to the graveyard later on. That's just gross. It's so gross. On top of that, it really helps you push for game. I've won so many games online and probably a couple at locals the other day. I think it was like 1 game, I think, at locals, because of this. What you do is you just use this, and then after you use punishment, it makes punishment free if you already have that in the grave, because you could just make this Ecclesia plus whatever else you got on board, and you just push for game, because that's 35, 3 Ecclesia, it's 5, it's just a 7, it's pretty much GG's. So like it's really gross. It helps you push for game. It can't be destroyed by card effects once you use its secondary effect. It's overall just a very good extender / push for game. And the fact that like I said, you can send it off Shaddoll Fusion going second, that's just disgusting. That's nasty. And on with the spells, a lot of it's standard. 3 Meltdown. Because Meltdown's busted, says you can't do nothing in response to my fusion summonings. 3 fusion. 3 Shaddoll Fusion. Best fusion card in the deck besides Invocation. And then we got the 1-card combo. 3 Nadir Servant, aka Nadir Engage, because it's pretty much like Sky Striker Engage on crack, pretty much. It's pretty much the Engage for this deck. 3 Nadir. It's just gross. I don't need to say anything else. And then don't pay attention to this because I'm sorry, I'm poor, because I want to max rate everything else and just skipped over my Super Polys. 3 Super Polys card is nuts. In the mirror match, it's just disgusting. Me and my friend in the mirror match on round 2, we like Super Poly'd each other. Like Super Poly was activated like 3 times in the course of 2 turns. I activated it, he activated it, and turn came to act me, and I activated it again or something like that. It seriously put in some serious work. Not ones are the 2 ofs, 2 invocation. You don't need more. You don't need less in this build. I would not run less. I wouldn't recommend it. And then the card that I run instead of like Prosperity or something like that, because Dragoons is still a thing, and I like this card better than Prosperity. I just love this card overall. This is the one that's kind of like personal preference, and that is 2 talents, because talents allows me to draw 2 if I need to. If my opponent ashes me or something. Like, you know how many times I've my opponent's ashed my Alistair and I've used this to draw 2 and I drew into Invocation. Yeah, it happened a lot online playing. Allows me to rip a card from my opponent's hand, give me access to know what my opponent is playing. Rip a card from their hand if I want to, which also like goes with knowing what they got. Steal in their monster, and just bait out Dragoon with Alistair, and they just then steal their Dragoon and go off if you don't have access to Super Poly. So yeah, it's really freaking gross. And then the last card in my last spell card that is in my deck, and I thought about cutting this card for the Golden Lord. And literally, I missed it so much, and when I put it back in, this card just does way too much work to take it out. So Golden Lord was like my 41th card. I took this card out, and I missed it so much, and it's perfect as a one-of. And that is L. I missed L so much, and this card alone at locals put in so much work for me. I won at least a game or 2 off of this, just this card. Just this card, and like within like several minutes left on the clock, just a L. L has came in so clutch for me over the course of playing this deck and learning this deck and switching my ratios and stuff out, that it's just nuts. You don't need more than 1 because you can have access to it whenever you want to fuse from deck anyways. I know this is more Ash bait, but it's okay. You got Alistair to bait your get hit by the Ash for you, so it's all good, G. But no, L puts in just stupid work. Do not cut this card. I'm telling you, do not cut that card. It's perfect as a one-of because you can have access to it whenever you want. And then on to the trap cards, which are the last cards in the deck. The whole reason why I even play this deck is I got interested in this deck. Sorry, not the reason why I play this deck. Got interested in this deck. Is Schism. This card's stupid, dude. So dumb. This card just is just, I don't know. It's nuts. It is probably one of the reasons outside of Super Poly why this deck is even as competitive as it is. And then obviously 1 punishment. You do not need 2. My personal opinion, if you're running 2, then you are just hurting yourself in the long run because you're locking yourself out on 2 separate turns in a duel. You're locking yourself out of the normal summoning mechanic of this deck. So you do not need 2. 2 has never come up for me. Half the time, the first one has never came up for me. I just never needed. I've honestly thought about cutting this card to put my deck down to 40 because all this card really does is help you like break boards, which this deck naturally does anyways. So I don't know, but I still run it because when I need it, I need it. When I don't, I don't. It's just I don't know, free discard off of Golden Lord sometimes when I know I got combo. And then the last card in the deck that I honestly is the reason why I cut Omega out, because how busted this card really is, and how it's Resh. It's literally Resh. Resh is just so stupid, dude. If you're not playing Resh and you're in the Dogmatika Invoked Dolls, you're just not playing it right, 100%. This card is so gross. It puts in so much freaking work. It is literally 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, I don't give a shit, 10th copy of anything in your extra deck as a SHADDOll. Pretty much. It's just nuts. And same with your main deck, too. It's just so gross, dude. It's so nasty. The loop between Construct and then this, just keep looping them back and forth, keep sending wherever you want Graven, and save your other copy of Construct in the deck for emergencies only. Come on, dude. You can't get better than that. It's just, I don't know. Resh is just busted. And onto the extra deck. I know a lot of people don't like running Resh because They say it's a brick, yada yada yada, but in my opinion, it's really not. But like I said, Yu-Gi-Oh is all a matter of opinions, and I know sometimes it's bad to have an opinion on the internet because it's just never turns out to be a good thing. But starting out with the extra deck, is really standard. We got one Artemis. Artemis is just generic. And in the mirror match, I know it probably never come up, but it came up literally one time. It was pretty cool in the mirror match. Played online. In the mirror match, for some reason he hand trapped me or something. I couldn't do anything, so I just left this on the field. And I was playing the mirror match, and my opponent summoned his Artemis, and this stole his Artemis, and he didn't really have a light target, so it was kind of funny. Gravity controller, obviously for obvious reasons. Construct, anything in the extra deck, that's a fusion. Get rid of it. And then the busted ass Anaconda. Send any fusion cards, Super Poly, Shaddoll Fusion, just nuts. It's just stupid. The card's probably gonna be banned one day. Probably needs to be banned. I think it does, honestly. Onto this, the fusion monsters. We got two sexy, thick constructs, ultis. Ugh, God, this card is so nuts, dude. Oh my God, construct is just nasty. I don't know. I can't even talk how nasty it is. Construct just puts in so much work for you. Sometimes more work than Winda does, honestly. And then two Winda. Speaking of the devil, Winda is like your win con against anything that doesn't set 5 pass. And then two of personally probably my favorite Shaddoll in the extra deck, because of how versatile its Send to the Grave effect is. And that's 2 Apicalone. I call him Al Capone. 2 Al Capone. He puts in work. Definitely with Resh, dude. Resh in this card is nuts. You just keep negating shit, and your opponent can't really like do nothing. And it negates it permanently. It forces them to try to find a way to get it off the field. So, yeah. Let me scoot these up. Onto the Invoked engine. I got 2 Macabre. I'm really weird about this card, and the reason why I say that is because so many times I've thought about cutting Macabre down to 1, because normally you're only going to summon like 1 of them and then push for game. I don't know. It's just Macabre is, I guess you could say, a security blanket for me, because I know if I lose my first Macabre, that I have a second one in there that's pretty much an easy negate the access. So, like, I thought about cutting 1 for Raijin, so I have more of a variety extra deck against, like, Bird Up or Dragonuity or whatever the case may be with having a win target, which, if those decks become more popular, I will probably trim the second one down and do a 1-1 when it comes to that. And then the rest of the Invoked package is literally Aguades, whatever the hell his name is. I don't fucking know. And then Kaliga. I decided to play Kaliga because a bunch of people are deciding to play Droplets and No Ruler. So they'll bait out your window and then drop a No Ruler on you, and you just go off. And that shit's annoying. So what I like to do now is the Kaliga lock and sit on my window. All right, dog. What you gonna do? You gonna get 1 monster effect. You get attack with 1 monster, and I got an Alistair to get my boy Kaliga some gains. So what are you gonna do? You gonna drop that No Ruler, and then I'm gonna window your ass, or you gonna just scoop and we can go to the next game? Yeah, that's what I thought. Next game, because it's annoying with Dark Ruler going everywhere. But I understand. You gotta do what you gotta do to win the game. It's a really good card, and it helps you out boards like this and other boards too. I'm not down on them for playing it. I understand. I play it in the side. So I'm just saying, though, but it's a really good thought, because even if they don't, and you get them under Window and you get them under Kaliga too, it's pretty much our deck's version of VFD, kind of pseudo like VFD. So it's really good. It gives your deck more versatility. So I don't know. I like it. Definitely with, like I said, No Ruler running around. Then the last 2 in the deck is Ash Dragon and Intis. I know a lot of people cut the Ash Dragon to put in the third construct, which I don't blame you to a degree. The Intis is pretty much straightforward. I run Ash Dragon for the exact reason of helping me push for game, because when I send, if I don't need a double pop, I send this off of punishment, because this helps me push for game, because if I wait for the right time, the punishment will literally punish my opponent and they will be left with nothing, if anything. And if they're left with anything, then whatever I summon off Schism will take care of that. So this will help me get my Fleur-de-Lis out of the deck. And since this helps me get my Fleur-de-Lis out of the deck, that means my Nadir Servants, instead of going into Searchers, become recovery cards. Because a lot of people forget that Nadir Servant can add back from grave. So you want it more for you recovery than you do for searching, honestly, my personal opinion, outside of searching it the first time if you don't hard draw your Ecclesia or whatever. So on top of that, this becomes a dark target for whatever, like whether for your Winda. On top of that, it's a spare fusion monster for your Invoked Aguides or Aguides or whatever the hell his name is, because you don't want to banish your Shaddoll fusion monsters from the graveyard unless you know you have game or you're going to push for game. The reason being is because you just want to keep looping whatever. Once you get everything, you summoned it properly in the graveyard, then you just keep looping Resh with whatever you want or whatever you seem fit to the situation. So like you want to do an extra dump, you just bring back Construct. You want to negate something, you just bring back your Al Capone. If you want to just lock them again, with Winda lock them after they break your board, you just bring it back. Like, you don't want to banish your Shaddoll fusion monsters unless you know you have game. But with that being said, guys, that is my profile. I went undefeated with it, 3-0. It's very fun. This is my favorite deck, dude. I haven't had this much fun playing a Yu-Gi-Oh deck since like probably Lunalight Orcus back in the day, and Thunder Dragon back when Colossus was still legal and he's not in prison. Konami, bring back Colossus the ones. Bullshit. Let's do it. Come on. But anyways, that's my dude, bro. But anyways, sorry the video so long. I know I like to talk. It's just I like to explain everything in detail for you guys. But I hope you enjoyed the video and enjoyed the deck. If you have any questions, feel free to message me in the Discord. Or you can comment down below if you have any side deck questions or anything like that. Sadly, there's no budget option to this outside of probably playing pure Shaddolls. So there's no real budget options to this. You either pay the money to play it or you find a different alternative. But again, please hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. A lot of you guys that watch the video are not subscribed, like 94% of you, and that really hurts because I know a lot of you are actually returning people. So if you're already returning, you might as well hit the subscribe button so you don't miss an upload and a bell notification. So you definitely don't miss an upload, because I know it'll pop up and recommended if you hit the subscribe button. If you hit the bell, then you're not going to miss it anyways. So hit the subscribe button. Join the Discord. We're all a really close family in there, pretty much. That's why I like to call it, because everyone likes to help each other out. So we're really close family down there. A good group, and we like to help one another out. So with that being said, hit the like button, hit the subscribe, hit the bell so you never miss an upload. Be on the lookout for future content and updates on certain decks and stuff. But with that, you all have a good day, night, morning, evening, whenever you're watching this video. Stay safe out there, and everybody, good dueling. Drip out. Peace.